Hello there and welcome to MacYak episode number 180. They said we'd never make it, but we did. 180 episodes already. It's amazing. Hasn't it flown by? How is everyone tonight?
Doing good, actually. Doing good.
Yeah. As you can see, we're a slightly scaled down group tonight. Grudy can't make it tonight because he's
okay. I guess I'm not making it, right?
Grudy can't make it tonight because his life is continuing drama. I think Steve is trapped under a molar mac or something like that. We haven't heard from Mike in a while, so we're not really sure. And
might be alive, might not be.
Yeah, that's right. Well, check in with us, Mike. Just let us know, right? And who else is there? Dana will, of course, be joining us in about half an hour's time. So GT, been up to anything interesting?
Not a whole lot. Basically, just I've been doing a little bit of 3D printing. I'm trying to learn more about how to use Fusion 360, especially to convert STLs so I can edit them. I am having a hard time doing that, so I'm trying to learn that.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I've often found from doing a little bit of, sort of 3D stuff that when you get hold of an STL, in particular, if it's one where someone's gone and beveled all the edges and stuff like that, if you're then wanting to go and make changes to it, it's a nightmare. Because while it remains in Fusion, things like beveled edges are just kind of like a command to say, bevel this edge. But the moment you export it as an STL, it actually converts it down into all those little polygons and stuff like that, and then it becomes very difficult to edit. I've struggled with that myself. So it's all right if you're just dealing with fairly basic shapes, but when you get those really intricate designs, it's a bit of a pain. So
I never struggled with that.
Because you didn't try?
I don't print.
He doesn't print no more. See, what's bad about this is Jay got me into the 3D printing thing, and then he just says, I'm done.
Bailed. Yeah, he completely bailed on it. I mean, it's the 3D printing for me has just been one of the most awesome things out there because of the ability to design and create your own stuff. There are just so many times that come up where something is broken or something is missing or whatever the case may be, or something can be improved. And I just go, you know what? I could design something better than that. Or I can design something to replace that, and you just create it and print it, and away you go. It's been life-changing.
That's
for
what
me.
I used to think.
2 years since I got mine. Yeah, just the other day, 2-year anniversary.
I think it's been a little longer for me because
I'm so happy for both of you. I'll just say that if I could take the frame of my printer and squeeze it and hear it choke to death, I would in a heartbeat. But I don't get that pleasure, so I just let it rot in the basement.
Now, it's a funny thing because I mean you did clearly end up with a lemon when you first bought that one. You ended up with a lemon. It just didn't. I mean, you and I would be setting things up. We would go through all the same calibrations. You would print something, it would come out as a mess. I would print it, it would be fine. But you did replace the printer with a good one. But by that stage,
when I have something that's broken, I don't immediately go to exchange it. I try to fix it. That's what I do. I shouldn't have done that because it sucked the life right out of me. And
yeah. Destroyed all the joy for you.
It did. So let that be a lesson to anyone listening. If you buy a 3D printer, spend 3 days tops. If it doesn't work, return the fucker.
So, Jay, anything interesting been going on for you?
I've been getting back into buying up liquid damage boards on eBay and trying to fix those. And work. That's about it. Not much else going on.
It's interesting you say that because this is something that I used to do some years ago as well. I used to buy liquid damage computers, and a lot of the time it was great. It was good fun. It was challenging. You would buy stuff for, a bargain price. You would sit under the microscope, do a little bit of work, and you could fix it and use it as your own laptop or resell it, and you could be talking about reselling it and making hundreds of dollars of profit, and so it was quite lucrative. But everyone started doing it, and what I found was there were way too many people out there selling liquid damaged boards, which were in actual fact boards that people had tried to repair themselves, had failed, had left it as an absolute mess. And so it just became really difficult to try and find the genuinely liquid damage ones. You know, the ones where someone says, oh, look, I've spilt a drink on this, I've taken it to Apple, they've said it's going to cost $1,000 to repair, so I'm just going to sell it for parts. And you would get it back and you would open it up and you'd find a bit of corrosion there and replace 2 or 3 components, whack it through the ultrasonic cleaner, and away she would go. You know, I say that just became too difficult for me. There were people just selling
it's a sport things now. If it's up for sale as liquid damage, I don't even look at it. If it's up for sale as not working, I'm interested. But it has to have good photos. If I can't see a clear photo where I can zoom in and kind of inspect and I see some green there, and then I know it's a legit. Okay, this is busted. Maybe they don't know why, or maybe they don't want to say, but all the components are there. I see some corrosion. You know, it's only $20. Let's give it a shot. So it's harder to find, definitely.
Yeah, frustrating. And just very quickly on what have we been up to lately? I have released a video, building a great big ultrasonic cleaner video. If you haven't watched it, please have a look at the Braincrest Creations channel and check that out. It's meant to be fun. I have learned a few things. One is don't rush the end of the video. Like, for instance, when you're looking at something and you think, you know, I'm going to need to stick some grommets around those wires. Put the grommets around the wires and film it, because I have had about probably 50 comments from people saying you need to put grommets around those wires. And no one actually bothers to look at the other 50 people that have said put grommets on the wires, or look at the replies from me where I say I have put grommets on the wires, but they're not in the video, or the pinned comment that I put right at the top saying, hey everyone, check this out, I've actually put grommets on the wires, or the information I put in the description where I said I have put grommets on the wires. People don't read that. So
have you put grommets on the wires?
Yeah, I've put grommets on the wires. But anyhow, that's one of the joys of YouTubing. As I say to everyone, if you're releasing YouTube videos, never read the comments when you're tired. It'll make you suicidal. Just make sure you read the comments when you're awake and energetic in the morning. That's all.
I found a much easier solution for that.
Just don't read them.
Don't make videos.
I was going to say Jay doesn't make any videos.
That's working well for you.
Yeah.
But of course, we do expect to see a video from Jay soon, because we know that he has these vintage beige Macs that need repairing, and he will be sharing that with us, I'm sure.
Sure.
So we have a show to do, and we even have some topics. So how about that? We have our first topic tonight is, should Apple implement RCS into its messaging app? Let me just sort out that incorrect apostrophe.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
You actually did a video on that.
Yeah, I did do a video on that. So there we go. Possessive pronoun, folks. Possessive pronoun.
So are we skipping all the stuff above that?
That's good. We're swinging around to it afterwards.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. You missed the memo on that, Jay.
Yeah.
I've been trying to take a nap for the last 3 hours. Unsuccessful.
So, okay, I'm going to hand this over to GT, because Trina has asked a very pertinent question. What is RCS?
RCS stands for Rich Communication Services. Basically, it's an implementation built by, and I hate to say this, Google, and they have been pushing this as a standard. Now, most of the telecom companies are switching to it instead of using SMS, which is simple message system, I believe.
Service, I think.
Or service, yeah. They're switching to this RCS, which allows the capability to send high resolution pictures and stuff like that. Because with SMS, you can't send high resolution pictures and big file attachments like you can with RCS. And that's the reason why Google's trying to push this. Apple, however, in an article I read the other day, basically said that they do not want to do it because they feel that for a couple of reasons. One is that there's no end-to-end encryption with RCS, like there's the iMessaging, and you can't. It doesn't do a lot of things. Like, for instance, Apple has the edit feature, where you can actually delete a text or edit it out before it gets sent or read. So you can do all that stuff, but RCS doesn't have that capability yet. So
I have to just get you to
go ahead.
reiterate that. No end-to-end encryption. Does that seem like a massive oversight?
No, that's how they make their money. They want to read everything you say.
So that you can put encryption now. Each phone maker can put encryption on the end of their app, but the problem is you got to have a server that holds all the public keys. So who's going to do that? Is it going to be Google? Is it going to be Apple? Is it going to be AT&T? Whatever, and that's the biggest problem with it, is that you can't figure out who's going to be the keeper of all the public keys.
I have the solution.
What's that?
Why doesn't Google just switch to iMessage?
Well, that's another.
Do you think Apple will let them?
That's what I was getting ready to say, is that Apple's not going to let it. In fact, Apple was supposed to be developing an iMessage app for Android, which they developed, but they never released, from what I've read. But who knows? But the problem is people are just like wanting to, whenever they text their Android friends, and the solution, a lot of people sit there say, just tell your Android friend to buy an Apple phone,
So, Jay, question for you. I'm asking you a question so you don't fall asleep.
Thank you.
Do you think messaging could benefit from a standardization?
Yeah, I think so. If the right people build and implement it, like, for example, I made a joke, but if there is no end-to-end encryption, there's only certain types of companies and governments that benefit from that. And that's those that want to read everything that's being said. So they can either market ads for you or whatever. Now, I don't really care about this particular RCS thing, because I only know half a person that I text with over SMS, and she is not nearly tech savvy enough to even take a picture and try to send it. So
did you say half a person?
She's like 4 feet tall, so yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Because I was just going to ask you, which half? I mean, is it half down that way, or is it a half across that way?
Yeah, half. Yeah. For people that I talk to that don't have iPhones, we use Signal, or we used to use WhatsApp, or any of the other platforms. I like to use multiple just to stay familiar with it. But yeah, when it comes to text messaging and an overhaul of that system, I don't really. It should all be. How do you say that? Just like iMessage and all the other apps, it should all be data based, not cell phone tower based.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So just get rid of SMS and its counterpart altogether, and problem solved.
Well, I think RCS actually does do that. It gets rid of the SMS based, stuff. Which, remember, SMS was based on a small portion of the cell phone spectrum. Whenever you make a call, it's like a little. I think it's a handshake signal, if I remember correctly, and that's what they use to send. That's what they started using initially to send text messages on, because hey, it's there. You might as well use it. It's just a handshake protocol that basically remains unused when you're not using it. So,
and maybe it's because I'm old school. SMS has always pissed me off, because I started off with a prepaid phone, and 2 text messages to friends in England meant I spent my entire budget for the month, so I couldn't text them anyway. And everyone that was in the same country as me, I'd much rather just call, like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Or instead of texting on those stupid little keyboards. And
well, what's funny about that is I never actually started texting until I got my first iPhone. because back then I had the one before I had that was the Motorola Razr, and I refused to text on it. And now my kids, man, they'd be all, fast as hell on their texting. Oh yeah, but I refused to do it because I was like, okay, I want to send this letter. I got to hit this button 2 times,
Yeah. I mean, for me, I definitely agree with you. I did send messages, but they were more along the lines of kind of yes, no, see you at 5, that sort of stuff. Not some of the sort of the longer messages that I would send these days from a phone or for an iPad or something like that. I have to say that when you're dealing with something, obviously us being Mac users, we use iMessage. It's just what messages now, not even called iMessage anymore. And I guess one of the things that I find frustrating about that, and this is something particularly from someone like me and like all of us really, where we are often clinging to older technology for a while. I use Mojave as my main computer. I am going to be going to Big Sur soon. I accept that that's going to have to happen. But I get frustrated by the fact that I can't reply to a message in Mojave. I can do it on my phone. I can do it on the newest stuff, but that is a technology that was added to Apple Messages in a later version of the OS, and I can't utilize it. And so they've brought in these new features, but you have to upgrade the whole OS in order to get the latest happening in one single piece of software. There's no reason why Apple couldn't actually go in and make an update to this software to give you these extra features in an older operating system. And of course, the situation that we're encountering now with the PowerPC Challenge, which we'll talk about later on, where on these really old Macs, you can't message at all. It's a Mac, it's an old Mac OS. Well, yeah. Well. We will be coming back to that. We'll be swinging back around to that.
Well, I wanted to ask a question to you, Bruce. What do you mean you can't send a reply?
Oh, no. I can send a message. I can't reply to it. You know how
you can on our phone. Yeah.
On the phones, you can hit a message and you can specifically reply to it, or the newer features they've brought out, like message editing. You can't tell me that Apple couldn't just release an update of the Messages software, retrospectively, one that's going to work on Mojave that would add those features to Messages. We're not talking about massive high tech that's going to need the latest CPU in order to do it.
Oh, I understand.
Simply,
of course they could. They could update macOS 9 if they wanted to.
But here's the thing: is they want to sell you more hardware.
Totally, I totally accept that. I guess the point that I'm trying to make about it is that I like the idea of a standardization for a messaging system. And the point that I'm making is that not even Apple is kind of standardizing it because they keep updating it, but not retrospectively. So if they were forced to go down the path of a standardization like RCS, they wouldn't have that control anymore. They wouldn't have the ability to go in and say, you know what, we're going to make it so that you can put fireworks in the background of your message now. But that's not going to be available to all the older ones. They wouldn't be able to do that because they would be having to use a standardized system. So it would take a lot of control and I guess, creative freedom away from them.
My whole thing is, as far as the RCS thing goes, is that they can implement the features of RCS, but still keep their features that they have on Messages. And basically, and they could show it that, hey, you're running RCS. If you do a message edit, they're going to get the 2 different messages, or they can't edit theirs, and you're like, hey, we can edit our messages. What about you? Or the fireworks thing, like, hey, did you see the fireworks? No, I didn't see it.
Well, watch it being standardized, and then some poor schmuck on his Core 2 Duo with open core is going to take half an hour to render that fireworks. I mean, Apple can do whatever the hell they want. Keep it the way it is. Lock it down. Just open it up enough so people can write extensions for it. All I ask. Like MSN Messenger used to do it. ICQ used to do it. Adium used to do it. Still does it, actually. Just let people expand on what you already have, and everybody's happy.
And again, you think Apple's really going to do that?
Oh, hell no.
Exactly.
Yeah. It'd be nice if it had an API as well, so that we could so people could write alternative clients to it. But that's something we're going to come back to.
Oh, Francois is watching us at 2 times speed. I didn't know you could do that.
He's catching up at 2 times speed.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. We sound like chipmunks.
Okay, so that's the RCS. Let's move on now to, we touched on it a little bit there, the 2023 PowerPC Challenge, the time when we all get excited and pull out the PowerPCs, play with them for 3 minutes and put them away again.
Well,
not me this time.
All right. Okay. We'll open with you then, Jay. What have you done as part of the PowerPC Challenge for 2023?
Not much, but I did. I gave it my MDD a permanent spot right on the desk there. Hooked it up to one of my work displays so I could play with it whenever I want. Not during work hours, of course.
Of course not.
I spent about 3 or 4 days trying to figure stuff out, like we always do with these challenges. Every year, some new project comes out. Every year, the basic stuff gets harder to do. So we spend half of the challenge figuring out how to make stuff work, and the other half enjoying the stuff we managed to make work. I didn't want to do that this year. A whole bunch of stuff I wanted to try. I spent about 10 minutes on some of it. Didn't work, and I decided I'm not going to waste my time this year. I just want to enjoy the stuff that already works. I have a whole Tiger partition set up from previous year that has all the software, all the games, everything on it. I have a partition with Sorbet Leopard where I do some experimenting. But yeah, I'm just enjoying it. The old games, particularly. You fire up Halo, suddenly it's 3 a.m. You're like, whoa. That went fast. It's a lot of fun.
For people that may not have heard of it, tell us a little bit about Sorbet Leopard.
I don't know too much about it, actually.
Well,
I don't.
I
think it's
Apple never released one. So
yeah, it's basically.
Let me try to remember. There's a very clever dude, or multiple, I don't know, that took a developer version of Snow Leopard that still had PowerPC code in it, I believe, like the very first developer version, and they merged it with Leopard, and they made 10.5.9 Sorbet Leopard out of it. So it's Leopard with stability improvements, some newer software built in, and all that stuff. It's a neat project, and you can find it on Macintosh Garden.
Yeah, awesome.
Is that about cover it? That's all I remember.
Yeah, that's enough.
That's exactly what it was. It was basically the developer version kind of smashed. It's kind of like in between Snow Leopard and Leopard.
So, and GT, what about you? Have you pulled out a PC for working on the PowerPC Challenge?
PowerPC. I haven't pulled it out. I mean, I still have it sitting. It's sitting like right down here beside me. I'm going to pull out my G5 again. Probably going to have we need to have another UT 2004 night. Maybe do that on one of our Thursday night Mac Yaks, maybe like we did before.
Yeah.
And see if we could stream it on StreamYards, because I don't think we've ever tried that yet.
What are we streaming?
UT 2004.
I don't think StreamYard is going to handle that too well.
Well, it might if you
do it with a screen catcher. If we run the screen into a modern one to broadcast it, something like that.
Or point a webcam at the screen.
Yeah, do it old style.
Don't we have a game coming up, by the way? When they're switching off the servers at a certain date, we were going to have a game, weren't we?
Well, it's just they're switching off the servers. I mean, we have our own servers, so
yeah. But in honor of, we're gonna have a game. We had a game last week, by the way. Someone on the Think a Different thread of the PowerPC Challenge announced a game. Some dude in Brazil, and I joined the game. The ping wasn't even that bad, and we gamed for about hour and a half, 2 hours. A lot of fun. and I believe a Quake 3 Arena game is coming up soon as well. So definitely.
Well, it was on a day I worked, so I couldn't join.
That's why you take the day off, GT.
I have to put that in a couple weeks in advance. So.
Weeks? Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there have been a couple of challenges that we've encountered this time. I remember from PowerPC challenges in the past that there were a number of ways that you could use Discord on PowerPC, but it's my understanding that they have upgraded their security, which has rendered a lot of those old clients non-functional now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe the only one I know of is the one that Colin DOSDude made, and I believe you need LCAP or newer now to run it. Anything older, you need to set up a proxy or something, which I was gonna do, but decided not to.
Yeah,
so I haven't played with that yet.
It definitely does seem that that's going to be the future of sort of enjoying a lot of these older Macs, and particularly if you want to enjoy anything on the web, whether it be viewing websites or whether it be using Discord or something like that. As security keeps going up a notch, I mean, I can see a day where someone will probably create like a pre-set up image or something for a Raspberry Pi or something that you can just plug in and then work as a proxy for everything. I mean, I would really like to have something like that, some sort of ready-made solution for us to sort of to be able to do this sort of stuff. Okay, so you can use a proxy on a newer machine. Yeah, look, it's the way it's going to go. I mean, I think in particular with sort of a lot of security concerns that are being raised by a lot of people. So is green screening actually sitting at his shed? It's
been messing me up for the last half hour. I know he's green screening, but it does mess me up.
I'll give you a clue.
That's better.
Yes. So now the reason why I have a shed background is because I had that solves things for everyone. I'm testing out an idea. That's all. So. Too clean to be my shed. What are you talking about?
It's the outside of the shed.
This is the nice shed. This isn't the shed that I do the work in.
By the way, I should mention that for those here 2 weeks ago when we had MacYack and DOSDude mentioned some stuff in the chat about upcoming projects, and then he casually said, "Oh, by the way, that graphics card you sent me 4 years ago, I fixed it. I have it now. It's in the Mac. Still working out a few issues, but it is I think I did the math on it. I forgot, like a 200-something% improvement over the upgrade I already had in terms of performance. So, and it has a cooler on it, so no more overheating card. So very happy with that.
Oh, that's excellent news.
Yeah.
Just quickly, my sort of PowerPC challenge involvement has been minimal, shall we say. I still have the G5 here set up from last year, and it still has all the software on it. And so I've got that set up with Tiger, Leopard, and no, is it Leopard? Yeah, Leopard and Sorbet Leopard. I've got 3 different partitions for that, and I am finding the PowerPC challenge getting more and more frustrating, trying to actually do things, because it is definitely getting harder. I mean, even to the point of just web browsing, there were just off-the-shelf solutions before, but now it seems like there are ongoing complications trying to, sort of get these computers onto the web. What I have been, excuse me, what I have been doing, though, is for my YouTube videos, I write scripts. And all you need for that is a glorified text editor. But one of the things I like to do is I like to be able to work from any computer. I've got lots and lots and lots of computers, and I like to be able to do it from any computer. So I like to be able to, start writing a script on this one and then maybe move to that one and write some more, and then maybe move to that one and write some more. And so I've been using, where is he? I've been using one of my favorite PowerPCs, this guy here.
Titanium.
This is the G4 Titanium. This is the faster one. I think there was a slow one and a fast one. We've got the beautiful background there of what's that OS that Jay hates? That's
let's see. I hate Leopard. I hate Lion.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Leopard. So let me just check. and 10.5.8. Yeah. So, yeah, this is definitely one of the OSs that Jay loves. But this is in rather spectacularly good condition G4 titanium that still holds a charge, and I can just load this up with the little website that I set up that allows you to do kind of notes online, and then you can view them sort of on other computers as well. So I have been using that to write some scripts for some of the upcoming YouTube videos I've got coming. And it's fun. I love the keyboard on that thing. I mean, it's very, very nice keyboard to type with, and I love the look of the computer. So that's been about it for me in terms of PowerPC. Other than, I enjoy the fun of it. Really, the everyone else getting involved and posting their comments and stuff like that. So yeah,
so I haven't seen anybody chatting in the
Sean
chat.
Just got in. And he can't go 5 seconds without talking about Linux.
But what are our viewers doing for the PowerPC challenge? Because I haven't seen too many. I mean, Trina says she doesn't have a PowerPC.
What?
And she was saying that she was using when's the Core 2 Duo challenge?
So someone actually posted in the comments before about the Core 2 Duo being in a kind of a lull at the moment, i.e. it's not old enough to be collectible, but it's old enough to not be of any use anymore. So, which I kind of tend to agree with, but I will just speak to that comment very quickly and say that the Linux Mint distro runs quite well on a Core 2 Duo. So if you do feel like, trying something different on an old Core 2 Duo, that I would recommend giving that a try.
The problem with Core 2 Duo is, from even when they were new until today, they keep outperforming what we think they can handle. I have a Mac Mini Core 2 Duo in my basement with OpenCore running Big Sur as a caching server, and it just kills it. I mean, every Core 2 Duo that I load up with some insane operating system, it takes it. It's not the fastest, but it doesn't lock up, it doesn't freeze, it doesn't crash, it just takes it. These things go on forever. I love the Core 2 Duo, especially the 2.6 and slightly the 3.22? I don't remember. But those things are indestructible.
Yeah. I'm not sure I would want to run Ventura on a Core 2 Duo system, but I guess it would be fun for novelty value.
I was gonna say you talk about slideshows on it.
I've just dropped into the chat there the link to the Tinker Different thread on the PowerPC challenge. It is 3 pages long. We've had plenty of people contributing to it, so do check that out. And of course, if you are doing stuff yourself, put a post in there. Let us know, some of the challenges or what you've been doing. I tend to be, sort of the same as Jay in this, in that it's become less of a challenge now for me and more just about an appreciation process. Pull out the old PowerPC, muck around with some old games and some old software, get a little bit nostalgic, have a bit of fun with it, without necessarily it being, this is the challenge. Welcome, Dana, to the show. How are you today?
Hello. I am good. It is very wet outside.
I can take a nap now.
It's been raining all day.
Eddie's Mac 84 now.
and so we will go back to the have you been doing anything interesting lately?
Yeah, I was working on that my PowerPC challenge computer. It is over there. It's I think I talked about it last week briefly. It's a Workgroup Server 9650. And it is
I can see
running,
you've got your anus showing at the moment in the background there. That's the Apple Network server there.
It's really big.
Yeah. Yes, you have. That is the biggest anus I've seen, actually. So yeah. Sorry, go ahead with
Try to come back from that.
I don't know. What was I even talking about?
You were talking about the computer you're doing the PowerPC challenge.
Oh, yes. Okay. So it's running OS 9.1, and it currently has, I think, 768 megs of RAM, but one of those 32 meg chips is not paired, so I'm going to pull it so I get a little more speed.
Yep.
And I upgraded the GPU to a PCI Rage 128 card, so I went from 4 megs to 16. There's an Ethernet card and SCSI 2 card because it was a server. And there's 3 4 gigabyte drives in it, but I'm only using one right now.
Okay.
So
and Dana shared some video in the Maciac chat of those drives spinning up, and we all just sat there and listened.
Yes, we got some drive ASMR there, for sure. Doing the old because they spin, they're noisy spinners. Those things.
Yeah, you should hear it when I have all 3 of them turned on.
I'd like to. And what sort of things do you think you'll be doing with your PowerPC for the challenge?
So I have a bi-monthly newsletter that I do graphic design for, and I just received the deadline for receiving the source files. Well, not the source files, but all the materials was today. So I'm thinking about trying to design it over there. It's got InDesign, I think InDesign 1.5 or 2 on there.
No Quark?
Yeah, pull out Quark Express. Come on.
Come on, man.
It is funny, actually. Oftentimes when I fire up like a vintage Mac and I load up an old version like Quark Express version 3 or something, how unbelievably usable it still is, and that you can go in and design stuff. And okay, you don't get a lot of the frills that the later InDesign versions.
Well, I'm not going to use PageMaker. I'll use the early InDesign as long as it doesn't like crash every 5 minutes.
Well, that's because PageMaker was.
Now, we all run pretty insane upgrades for our PowerPCs. Not necessarily a Sonnet or expensive stuff, but stuff that we never would have put in there that wasn't even available at the time these machines were the latest thing. What is the coolest upgrade or add-on you currently have for your PowerPC that you wish you would have had at the time? You can only pick one.
G3 upgrade. We're talking about the one for that we're using for the challenge.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. G3 upgrade. That's the coolest.
I think the for me, RAM cost is the best thing about today, because you can take these computers and you can max them out to as much as they can take, and okay, that might still be a lot lower than today's Macs and whatever, but you can go out and you can buy the absolute maximum RAM for these, and you can do it for change, whereas in the olden days you used to have to remortgage your house for it. So that to me, I think is one of the most joyous things, is just waiting for that delivery to come in from I don't know, wherever, Amazon or eBay or something, with those memory sticks, and then absolutely maxing these computers out. I love that.
GG?
What about you, Joe?
I haven't done really many upgrades to my G5, so basically what came with it is what I have in it.
Well, you picked the only PowerPC that you can barely upgrade.
True.
What are you using?
A G5, dual processor, air cool.
Well, you can put graphics cards in them, can't you?
Well, I've got the best graphic card in there. I think it's the NVIDIA 6000 or something like that. I can't remember what's the
6800 or something like that.
6800. Yeah, that's the one. It came with it. So I was like, hell, it runs UT with maximum graphics. I mean, I got everything turned up to ultra, and it's like it doesn't even stutter.
I can't choose between the CPU cards that you can now just grab off eBay, insane, even without overclocking. Just a dual 1.42. It was unobtainium back in the day, cost prohibitive. But I'm gonna have to go with someone banned that guy already.
Yeah, it's like, what's this guy doing here?
Well, I just replied to her. I said, one of these days I'm going to actually put Linux on that G5 just to see.
I think I'm going to have to go with the SATA PCI card because running these PowerPCs off an SSD is just makes all the difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. You know, when you do, I think I might still have a spinner in my titanium. I think I tried to put an SSD in it and it wouldn't play along. I have to double check that, but the G5 definitely has an SSD in it. That goes really well. Hello, buddy.
Yeah, it's here.
Well, Colin might have a solution for your spinner issues soon-ish.
Oh, yes. No, you mentioned that in the last one, and I'm very, very interested in that. So, yeah, for sure, that there could be a new thing coming. Oh, ready for sale. Okay, well, you need to. We got a module or something. You can stick a link in there. Hang on. Okay, all right. I'm just. Hang on. I can't do it from there, can I?
Yeah, me neither. I think GT has to do it.
No, you guys should be able to do it.
Yeah, I can do it, but you see, I'm loaded in as Brankus on the chat here, not as Macyak. So
hold on.
But we've got to get a link to this thing for sure.
There we go. He's modded now.
Yeah, cool. So
there you go.
Yeah, so we definitely want to see a link of that. Yeah, alrighty. So now I did. Yeah. So I put in a link to the Tinker Different thing. That's all good. Is there anything else that people would like to talk about with relation to the PowerPC challenge?
One thing.
What's coming next? That sort of thing.
Next for me is going to be there for the rest of the year. I'm not taking.
Oh, I like it.
PowerPC challenge is going to be year round. I just enjoy it that much. And if you want to take the time to make Discord work, to make that whole proxy stuff work, you do you. But I should mention, and I mention it every year, once you get past the fact that you can't be cool like some people that are watching a live stream on a PowerPC and like, oh, I want to do that. Once you get over that and you just accept the fact that you won't be using much internet-related stuff on your PowerPC and you let go, that's when it becomes really fun to play
Enjoy the isolation.
Yeah. Do all the stuff you used to do back in the day before social media, YouTube, all that stuff. And it becomes really, really fun. Did you put a link in yet?
No, he's just said I'm still working on a custom online store implement. Yeah, but for I can't. I've forgotten how to speak.
Just read it.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to be able to read.
See, that's what that's when we need DOS-Dude to be on tonight. We should have.
You can't say, "Hey, I have this really cool product. It's ready for sale," and then not have a link.
Yeah,
what's wrong with you?
I've got wind of something that I can't really talk about very much because it is still super secret and everything. But I have it on good authority that someone is actually working on a new PowerPC device. So picture something like a Raspberry Pi, but being powered by a PowerPC chip instead. And with this, you would be able to, I think, relatively easily install Linux on it. And then you would be able to, on top of that, install, Mac on Linux. There's a thing out there called Mac on Linux, it allows you to run the Mac OS on a machine that doesn't have the Mac ROMs on it. So it could be a fun and interesting thing because, you would be able to potentially do a PowerPC challenge with a piece of modern hardware. So anyhow.
You lost me at Linux.
Yeah, but still, you'll be able to run Mac OS on top of it. So, yeah. Okay, so anyhow, PowerPC. So any of you guys want to add anything, future plans with the PowerPC challenge, stuff that's still going to happen?
So what's this notebook project?
Sorry, I'm going to cough.
It's made by Amiga OS MorphOS fans. I've heard of that, but I haven't heard of the notebook project. Interesting.
I'll just be doing what I'm what I've been doing, just enjoying the old software. But what about you
Oh,
guys?
yeah.
Any
Same
plans?
here. I just gonna enjoy. I like playing my Civ 2 on my PowerPC. I have a G4 17-inch G4 PowerBook that I play Civ 2 on. So,
But for you, GT, doesn't being on a PowerPC open up a whole world of software and options when it comes to your ham radio stuff? Isn't it easier to do on a PowerPC than an Intel?
Yes and no.
Well, that helps.
If you take some of the software, like the one thing that I used to do, and I haven't done it in a long, long time, there's an APRS program, which is automated position reporting system. What that does is you can actually take a Linux version. I know Jay hates that word Linux, but you could take and compile it to run natively in a Mac OS. That's what's cool about Linux stuff, is that you get the source code and you can actually compile it to run on your native Mac OS. But I haven't done that in a long time, and that's the only thing I know of right now that's made for a Mac. Now, there is a website out there that I actually have bookmarked on here for Mac OS ham radio software, but there's not a whole lot of it. As far as a lot of them are like log books and DX clusters and stuff like that, which stuff I don't get into. So it's like,
yeah, I recall we talked about it some years back. You were going to do some videos about it. Never happened.
Yeah, I know. It's just as bad as Dana says he's going to do stuff and never.
Well, he actually changed his channel name to Dana Does Nothing. So
did I?
Well, you changed it somewhere.
He doesn't even know if he did it.
Oh wait, your Discord. You changed your Discord thing, I believe.
No, I deleted the Discord one.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to move away from the PowerPC channels now. So just a reminder to everyone, if you are doing it, please post comments about your experiences on the Tinker Different forum. That would be much appreciated. And I do hope you enjoy it. So
I need to do that.
Yeah, you do. So do I, actually, for that matter. Okay. So moving on to our next topic, and it is using modern apps. Actually, we kind of included that. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the reason why I skipped it, because we talked all about those.
Yeah, we don't. Okay, so all right, so we've got another topic. Who's this one? So what do we use? What do we use for preventative maintenance on our beloved Macs, if anything? So who put this one into the comments?
I did, and before we kick it off, I need to know if because I say preventative.
Yes.
Preventive.
But when I wasn't sure, so I looked it up, and it came back with preventive. So which one is it? Is it both?
It depends whether you're English or American, I'm guessing, because I say
I'm neither.
I've always said preventative.
Yeah, that's what I say.
I say preventive.
Let's look it up and find out.
Messes me up, man.
Preventive. Here we go. We're going to say preventive, definition, and meaning. Okay. It is.
Sorry if my keyboard's loud.
Devoted or concerned with prevention. Okay. Yep.
So it works.
Yep. It looks that way.
Jay ain't gonna like this keyboard.
Oh, you're 5 years old. That's cute. Get out of here with that RGB stuff.
It's preventive, yeah. Not
is
preventative
even a word? Or it's just the way we say
it? I think it's
spell check recognized it.
Right.
Preventive. Okay.
We should try to solve this mystery after the show.
Yeah,
what's funny is
both are acceptable. So
I typed it in just in the search bar, and it comes up on thesaurus.com, preventative, and then there's a link. See definition of preventative. You click the link, and then it says preventive on dictionary.com. So I think it's both, but probably one is a bit more proper than the other.
Both words are adjectives that mean used to stop bad things from happening. Something bad from happening. Both words are okay. So it would appear that they are both acceptable. So,
okay.
Yep.
Except Sean, he says it's the opposite of what he does.
Yeah, well, he's Sean. Yeah.
Yeah, he sets everything up for
Sean
failure.
does
For
upgrade maintenance.
By the way, if you want to see Sean in his element, then check out Startup Disc is Full. Last episode.
Last episode where we did our show on Linux. Yes, he provided some excellent insight in that show. So, cursive maintenance, I like that. Okay, so Jay, we had a slight sidetrack there. I'm going to let you kick this topic off.
Well, that's it. It's a question. I don't have anything to say about it. I just want to know what other people do.
We had several good suggestions already. Remove batteries, recap, whatever Sean said.
Stuff. Yeah, well, I mean, for your beige stuff, like for instance, I've taken my Apple IIc, and I've actually retro-brighted it. I mean, that's stuff you could do.
That's more of a cosmetic. It's not really preventing anything other than yellowing, but they'll eventually turn yellow again. But
eventually,
Jay, did you have you're talking about our daily drivers? That's your sort of thing. Is that right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about the sorts of things that we might be talking about. Might be I don't know, clearing out your hard drive, or keeping dust off the computer, that sort of thing.
Well, you're talking to Jay about cleaning up old files and things.
I organize them very well.
You throw them in a folder and say desktop number 8 or whatever, and then archive it.
It works.
Jay doesn't like to use the what do they call that? The little
trash can.
I tried using Stacks.
Stacks, yeah.
And I did for almost a year, and it just started pissing me off. Like when I work a lot with aliases and shortcuts, and Stacks doesn't know how to handle them. When I have multiple network volume aliases on my desktop, it puts them in the other folder. I want them on my desktop so I can click them easy. That's a whole other story. But keeping dust off your Mac, out of your Mac. Most people I know are pretty religious about cleaning once every 6 months at least. But it's also about, like you said, files.
Repaste once a year.
What?
Repaste your CPU once a year.
Yeah. Dana's really good at that. Right?
No, I did the pasting part fine.
Also,
it was
files.
the disassembling.
Like if you keep your hard drive full of files and it's always full, it defragments, it runs hotter, and it wears out faster. That could be preventive. This I need to change.
However you want to say it.
Maintenance.
No, I need to change the note. There we go.
This has actually come in handy since I bought it. I used to go through about like 10 things of compressed air. No, this is actually a compressed air.
I know what it is.
Yeah, but I think I have saved a lot of money on this thing since. Oh, you got one? Oh, the Black & Decker one. Huh?
My leaf blower is in the garage. I don't have it with me at the moment.
But I like it because it's got two different, speeds on it. So it's like, you're not going to knock components. I mean, there is a speed on here where it'll knock components off probably.
You guys in your fancy equipment, look what I have. I have a fully intact bezel.
Don't breathe on it. And then it just crumbles in his hand.
Till he drops it, and it's like, oh!
I should mention the best purchase I made last year, or maybe it was the year before, is a tiny vacuum cleaner. I use this thing pretty much all day long. My wife is thrilled about it because I actually vacuum for a change. But I used to use compressed air, the little cans that you buy in a 4-pack or an 8-pack, because I like the little nozzles, and you can get a lot of pressure into very small spaces, but the cost adds up. Mm-hmm. Then I got one of those little blower thingies that you guys have, and it was way too powerful. Like 3 hours after I was done cleaning, there was still dust in the air. So then I switched to little vacuum, and best thing I ever bought. So
I generally take mine outside when I give it a I have the system. Basically, once I can't tell that there are holes in the grill of the front of my Mac Pro, I then take it outside and then give it a bit of a I can just.
You're gonna get there a lot faster now that you have two new cats.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes, that's right.
Have you checked out your heat sinks lately?
For what?
So that's on your Mac Pro, right?
Yep.
Have you looked at them lately? Because if there's that much in the front, then
well, I've got a thermometer, temperature monitor thing up here. Jeez, why does this computer keep freezing all the time?
Now we know.
We want to see some pictures of the insides of your Mac after.
Well, look, what I will say in my defense is when I clean it, I get it really clean.
There is no defense.
I just don't do it very often.
Once a year. Is that.
Yeah.
But repasting, thermal paste. I typically eat twice a year, maybe, for my Mac Pro. And while I'm taking it apart to clean it, I might as well repaste it.
Oh, yeah.
But my laptops and stuff, I do them once, and then maybe a few years down the road if I feel like it.
I mean, it does, of course, also depend on the computer. And we know that it's generally fairly well regarded that the paste that Apple use on their computers, on their builds, aren't particularly good. So even if the computer's not necessarily that old, you can probably benefit from putting sort of a decent quality paste on there. It's the Arctic Silver, I think, is generally the one that's recommended for a lot of these. And it also does depend a lot on the computer. I mean, if we're talking about a Mac Pro, I mean, the lifting out of that tray is just so easy. They've made the process of maintaining, cleaning that section so easy because you can just slide it out, give it a bit of a foof, and away you go. But if you're dealing with a laptop, it might be a little bit beyond some people's technical ability, and they may not have all of the Pentalobe drivers and stuff like that, and then pulling out the board could be a little bit daunting for people. So I can understand if we're dealing with laptops that sort of.
Although you really should. Especially if you have a Core 2 Duo, you should do it once a week because that stuff turns to dust instantly.
Well, one thing I can say from repairing quite a lot of laptops is certainly with the MacBook Air, the older ones, let's say from, about 20, well, probably from the very first one up to about 2015, those Airs were designed in a way that where the air comes in at the back or goes out, one or the other, where the air comes in at the back, there's a section there where there's the system management controller on the logic board, and it's really, really common for that to accumulate dust. And if you're in an environment that's fairly damp, I was going to say moist, but no one likes that word. You can end up with moisture getting into that dust and then causing corrosion on the components underneath it. And it's a really common thing. And I've had that happen with lots of MacBook Airs. I've had people bring them to me going, this MacBook Air is not working properly. You open them up, you find the corrosion in exactly the same place every time. So if you do have a MacBook Air and you are wanting to prolong its life, I would recommend taking the case off and giving it a good dusting every now and again, with a compressed air can or something like that, to just get all of that dust out from the edge of the logic board. So that would definitely be my recommendation.
For the MacBook Airs, that specific spot that you're talking about, and where the I forgot the name, where the green light on the MagSafe is talking to thing. I started, after every repair, I started putting solder mask. I can't talk anymore. I'm tired. Carry
on. Software as well. Software maintenance. There are tools out there, things like Clean My Mac X, tools like that just run in the background, sort of keeping.
I heard that's malware.
You might be thinking of the other one, whereas Clean My Mac X, it's actually quite a good piece of software.
Oh, okay.
And most importantly, if you decide that you don't like Clean My Mac X, you can just uninstall it and it's gone. Unlike that
Buddy
other,
agrees with me.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't even mute anymore because everybody in the chat seems to like when he talks. So
yes, that's right. What I would say in terms of preventative maintenance, I think for everyone, something like Drive DX running in the background that is constantly checking your drives, the age of your drives, the smart status of the drives, whether data is being remapped on the drive, that sort of thing, so that you get plenty of advance warning if one of your drives is starting to get a bit iffy. Because let's face it, with the cost of drives these days, if you've got a drive that's starting to misbehave, replace it with plenty of advance warning rather than sitting there and waiting until it kicks the bucket. So, hey, buddy.
Put a camera on the floor so we can see him.
Yeah, that's right. We definitely need another camera, don't we? We need a buddy cam.
He's right there right now.
Look at him. Look at him.
What you want?
Dear, you don't play with me enough. What were we talking about? Preventative maintenance. So, is there anything that anyone would like to add regarding preventative maintenance?
The reason I put that question in there is there's a lot of people that don't do any kind of maintenance on anything ever. It's like, okay, I'm using it. When it dies, it's soon enough to start investigating and doing something about it. And there's a surprising
Some of us were taught to
like
take care of stuff because it cost a lot of money.
So, but yeah, even in the chat, I didn't see many, apart from Sean, of course. Didn't see a lot of disregard for the Mac's health. So that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think look, all of us, we're people that like to keep things running for as long as we possibly can, and if that involves a little bit of preventative maintenance from time to time, then that's fantastic. I mean, I now have a computer from 2016, and I'm still blown away by that. It's the newest thing I've ever seen. So
it's not even yours, is it?
Yeah, it's mine. Yeah, I got a 2016 in my latest batch of computers that I got.
Oh, right,
right. I got a 2016 MacBook Pro, just the little one, and I got a 2013 11-inch MacBook Air with the i7 and 8 gigs of RAM. I'm ecstatic about that one. That's the best find ever.
What Chris is saying, I used to do that up until Mountain Lion. I skipped Lion. It used to be easy.
Good.
And I used to do it several times a year, actually, because it was fun. You would experiment with your Mac all year round. It would clutter up. Stuff would break. You would just make a clone, wipe the whole thing, reinstall the OS, manually drag back your user folder, the contents, so all that stuff would be there.
Yeah.
You would
Good luck doing that
drag
now.
back your some of your preferences. You would go through it, filter out what you needed. It wasn't all tied to accounts and locked preference files. It's impossible to do now, but it used to be fun for me. But I'm weird.
Yeah, it's something that I used to do. I mean, it's very time consuming. So being sort of self-employed, going through a process like that and saying, you know what, I'm going to lose a day and a half getting everything back the way I want it. It's hard to justify. So. I will generally, when I install a new OS, what I will do is I'll, clone the drive, and then I will install the new OS on the new drive and keep the old one in its sort of original form. That's something that I've been doing now every time I've done an OS upgrade, because it just sort of means that if something does go horrendously wrong, I can just flick back to the old one. So
yeah, and I used to be very. Can't think of the word, but if I needed specific software, I had a separate partition with a separate OS, and I would boot into that just to run that software. It used to be very popular for people that were into audio production, because by default, doesn't matter which brand software you install when it comes to audio software, it destroys your Mac. It interferes with all kinds of stuff you don't want it to mess with, but it needs to for it to work. So a lot of audio people had a separate partition they would boot from just for their audio stuff. And then they would boot back into the other one for their internet, their games, and everything else. They would keep that isolated. So it would always work when they needed it. And I used to do that. But you get so used to, like, okay, I'm working on this screen. Oh, look, a message or an email. And you don't want to boot back and forth all the time. So I haven't done that in a few years. But it is the best way to keep a clean system.
One of the questions I have now, especially with the new M1s and M2 Macs, the Apple Silicon Macs, is can you still do the cloning like you can on the Intel ones?
We need to ask Steve.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, no, Dana has one. Dana has
yeah, but I haven't. I don't.
It's a work computer, right?
Now at work, we got we went from Intel to M1 here a few months ago. There is a way to create a clonable drive for the M1s. I don't know what it is, but our lead tech at work, he found out how to do it. He was in contact with people at Parallels. He was in contact with people at whoever makes Carbon Copy Cloner for weeks. And finally, I think it's the Carbon Copy Cloner guys. I think they came up with the way to do it, but I have no idea how it's done.
Okay.
That'd be interesting to see how you could reinstall a clone back to a system, because I know they've locked those down pretty well.
Yeah.
As far as what you can and can't do on those, especially if you're like putting a new drive in there. The new drive, you have to get it permission. There's a tool I think that you have to use to actually make it work with the new computer and stuff like that. But
yeah, I forgot what it's called. We used to use it for iPads.
Yeah, but now you have to use it for the studios and any M1 type of computer. Now, I mean, I think the Mac Studios, because they have a removable, not SSD, but the removable, because it's not a controller built onto it. It's just the flash modules, the memory modules. You can remove those. However, you cannot replace them because you need. Yeah, there it is. Patrick said it's called Apple Configurator 2. That's
it. Yeah. Why can't I find it? I have it.
You spelling it right?
Oh, there it is. Apple Configurator. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to use that to actually configure your new system to actually even recognize the new drive if you put one in there.
Yeah.
So, I don't like it. I look, I appreciate that a lot of these things are all based around security, but to me, most of these things are just more and more ways to end up turning outdated hardware into landfill, and I don't like it. Like it. Okay, so
there we go. That's the spirit.
Yeah.
Yes, that is definitely the spirit. We'll applaud you for that one for sure.
Well, before we go on to the next topic, let me do something real quick.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
No, you say it better in the video.
Yeah, I know. It's because I did actually. You
did like 50 takes for that, didn't you?
I pitched my voice down just a little bit in the video, so I didn't actually have to. The way I was doing it there, I was going as deep as I possibly can, but in the recording, I was able to not go quite as deep, so I had a little bit more vocal controls.
Oh, we're getting into the silly part of Mac Yak now.
We are indeed. So we are heading into what we are going to have. This is sort of like a new segment on the show. Just trying it out, see what we think about it. And it is rumors. We want to basically want to talk about some of the rumors that are circulating about Apple stuff. And there are always a lot. Some of those rumors come true, some of them don't. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of these rumors that are going around at the moment. We're going to discuss them, see what we think about them, what, sort of whether we like what they're proposing or not. And then we're going to put forward our opinion, and we'd ask you to do the same as to whether you think this thing will actually eventuate or whether it's just sort of a nonsense rumor and is absolute crap. So, first one, and I will put the link to this.
I already got it.
You got it. He's got it. So the first one is there an Apple Silicon Mac Pro coming this year? The rumors around at the moment are basically saying that it is coming. It could be as soon as March. Apple will be releasing apparently a whole series of computers, and one of those will be a Mac Pro Apple Silicon. Another rumor which we've just seen, I think today, is that it will be in the existing Mac Pro case. So externally, it will look the same as the old one. However, it's likely to not have upgradable RAM. So that was one of the rumors that we heard. So let's just, what do you think, GT? What are your thoughts about this rumor?
Sounds plausible, but here's my take on it. The reason why they could keep the original Mac Pro case is, like we were discussing before the show, is for graphics cards. If you want to upgrade your graphics card and whatnot. But what if Apple decides to do like it did with its Studio and put the GPU on, the M2 chip along with the memory, which is what they're planning on doing?
You can put a hamster cage in there.
Yeah, exactly. Why not just put it in a Mac Studio case and call it a Pro?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing with Apple have been basically saying all along is that with these computers, because of the way the RAM is integrated, you can actually get a lot more power from a lot less RAM. I think if they are going to sell this as a Pro product, it has to have a lot of RAM in there to satisfy people. So they're not going to take a look at this and think, well, if I can't upgrade it, I don't want to be locked into only X gigs of RAM. So,
it'll start with 16 gigs.
Yeah,
I mean, like the 2019 Mac Pro, didn't it? Like the default was 8 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
really, for a Pro machine? Come on.
Yeah, it's they. I mean, I think they basically just do that so that the entry level one price tag isn't so frightening. But yeah, I mean, what do you think, Jay? Do you think this is a sort of a plausible rumor?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they have to. They have to. They can't just discontinue the Mac Pro. People will revolt. So they have to make a Mac Pro. And when they finally do, it's going to suck ass, and nobody will buy it. And then they'll have an excuse to scrap the project, like they did before. The problem for me is we now know once the whole first wave of YouTube reviews came and went, it's like, oh, this is amazing, best thing ever. The real reviews started coming out, and we now know that pretty much everything they said about the M1, the CPU performance, the RAM performance, the graphics performance was way overstated. It's not the magic miracle machine they touted it to be, which we knew, we just didn't have proof of. Now we do. If the same happens with the Mac Pro, which it will, how much of a pro is it really going to be? Oh, it excels in Final Cut Pro. Yeah, you wrote the software for your machine. What if I wanted to excel at Photoshop? And it's going to fall short.
Or DaVinci Resolve or something along those lines.
And then you can't put a new GPU in. You can't add more memory. You can't put a PCI card in that gives you whatever you need. And then the whole thing is going to fall apart, I think.
So, I mean, I think the general idea is going to be that they'll be able to put GPUs in it. You'll be able to put extra storage in it in terms of mass storage rather than RAM storage. So, so you'll be able to put in SSDs and stuff like that. So I think that is the rumor at the moment. But yeah, it's the RAM that won't be upgradable. So, yeah, I mean,
Well, they did say in the article that it's going to be powered by the M2 Ultra chip. So,
yeah. And it'll be very interesting to see, I mean, things like power consumption, because, although we do know, yes, that after people have had a chance to use the sort of Apple Silicon computers, there are some people that absolutely swear by them because they are optimized to do exactly what it is they're doing. If you're going to be doing web browsing, you're going to be doing things like Final Cut Pro, you're going to be using a lot of these sort of suites that, they're very, very capable on the internet. So if you're going to be using web apps and stuff like that, you're going to find those things are going to run really well. And of course, if you are someone who does a lot of your work on a laptop, they definitely have that power versus performance thing going for them. Obviously, that's not as big a concern when you're talking with a Pro machine. A Pro machine, you expect those things to suck huge amounts of power. So I'll be interested to see, whether the Mac Pro is a, economical machine, what sort of power supply is going to go inside it. Yeah. What about you, Dana? Do you have any thoughts about the this rumor?
I'm just trying to imagine all the things you can put in all that in that case. With if it's got a Apple Silicon board in it, it's going to be like that big. That giant Intel board will be gone, and inside you can put Lego playsets. I don't know.
Well, you won't have to put those massive fans in there either. What would they do with all that stuff? Because the M1
well, I mean, the Ultra has half of the damn thing is a heatsink, so I expect double the heatsink in a Pro machine, probably.
But you're still going to need
to make the entire case a heatsink.
But I mean, you've got to have space in the case for GPUs, and of course, some of those GPUs are power hungry and get freaking hot. So maybe the whole case is going to be a heatsink for the GPUs that you put in.
Well, have you seen some of the newer GPUs today that they're coming out with, that AMD and NVIDIA is coming out with? They're huge monsters. I mean, they're the biggest thing in a PC now. It's like, can you imagine shoving one of those into a Mac Pro? I mean, they're in fact, I have an RX 5700, the Ultra version. It will not fit in a Mac Pro because it's too long.
Gotta squeeze harder.
Yeah.
Okay, so regarding this rumor, so we all basically feel like this is fairly plausible. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
No worries.
I think March might be a little soon, but
there's apparently a big event coming with lots of Macs going to be released. So that's, I think, one of the reasons why they think it's going to be released then. But.
Well, apparently in this article, if reading it here, there's supposed to be not only the Mac Pro, but the Mac Mini is going to be unchanged, but it'll be having M2 chip inside of it. And then they said that some of the there'd be two MacBook Pro models also coming out as well. And then also probably a new XDR Pro display. Upgraded.
Screw the displays. Make it 27-inch iMac.
Display.
And the next rumor is something that only Bruce has been waiting for.
Hold on.
Bruce,
Hold on. We have to honor.
Mac Studio and Studio Display.
Okay, so yes, this next rumor is one that I put in just for GT because we know how much he loves touchscreens. There is a rumor that I think they said by 2025 there will be a MacBook Pro touchscreen. So GT, why do you love touchscreens so much?
I love them because they get fingerprints all over them when you touch them. My wife comes in here. She likes to touch the screen, and I get on to her all the time because she'll sit there and start touching, and I got to sit there and wipe all the fingerprints off. I have an iPad.
What's this over here? What's this? What's this? Stop it!
I mean, I have an iPad which is touch based, but I use the pencil more than I touch it. Because to be honest with you, I like a clean screen. When I'm looking at something like that, that's just me. I mean, I've seen people, with their iPhones and stuff have so many fingerprint smudges and everything. I'm like, how do you sit there and look at, through all that stuff, But to be honest with you, a touch screen and I actually have a Windows Surface that I don't even use the touchscreen portion of it because it's a pain. Like Steve Jobs said, it's not natural for you to reach up there and touch a screen because your arm starts getting tired after a while.
So why do you think they would do this?
Probably to appease all those Microsoft people that
aren't going to buy
touch screens. Right. Yeah, they're not going to buy it anyways. But
I mean, look, I assume there must be some sort of pressure coming from somewhere. I am of the attitude that if they release one that's a touchscreen version and one that's a non-touchscreen version, and you can pay a little bit extra for the touchscreen version, something like that, I think works out. That manages to keep everyone happy. If you've got touchscreen there, and I remember us sort of at a meeting with someone who had a laptop that was a touchscreen, and I remember looking at it and thinking, what a waste of engineering, because why are you going to be touching that screen? You've got this trackpad, you've got all this here. It's like you set up 2 input devices. Having said that, I can see the appeal. I'm not sure, again, if Apple is going to charge more for it. I'm not sure that I would spring for it. So, but
they've also been saying, I mean, what did they say? Like, it's going to happen by 2025. They were saying that it's going to happen by 2005. Apple's going to have touchscreen. They've been saying it for 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
I just want to see.
I
think it's silly.
You go to a restaurant, or I used to see this a lot when I was doing service. Like, my screen doesn't work. Like, and okay, show me what's going on. So some person will grab their phone with the screen facing forward. I just won't do it because of the glare. Like, I tried to push this button. 5-inch long fingernails would bling on. It doesn't work. I just want to see them with a touchscreen Mac. It's going to be the most beautiful thing ever.
It's the funny thing is that if I'm sitting in front of just one of my normal laptops, I don't even think about it. But when I'm using a MacBook Air, I sometimes find myself just involuntarily going to touch the screen because it feels like an iPad when I'm sort of holding it. It feels like an iPad with a keyboard because it's the small screen. So, you're used to obviously touch screening on an iPad, and then I get the little MacBook Air in front of me, and then I suddenly find myself going, it doesn't work on this one.
Maybe whereas that's the model they'll start.
I hear a lot of senior citizens run into that problem.
Yeah, that's right. I'm getting pretty old these days, what? This screen doesn't work.
Keyboard's fair.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. So, I forgot to do that bit. So, who thinks it will and who thinks it won't?
If it does, like you said, probably the MacBook Air, just because it's so light, you can just. The MacBook Pros are too heavy.
I think. Any rumor that says something's going to happen in 2 years' time is one that you can't take terribly seriously. So I'm going to.
Well, I'm not even assuming that the time frame is right. But if they do it at all,
GT, what do you reckon?
He agrees.
He agrees. Do you reckon it's going to happen, or it's not going to happen?
Well, I think it's probably going to happen, but I hope it doesn't. So let's go that way.
Alrighty, so the next rumor we're going to look at this is an older rumor that was around, I think, in October last year, and it's sort of it's just resurfaced again just recently, and that is that the future iPhone designs will no longer have volume up and down buttons on the side. I think they'll probably still have a push button power button, but they're talking about making the volume buttons part of the touch screen, same as they have done with the home button, and there would be no buttons on the side. What do people think about that? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Don't care?
I don't think I would have a problem with it, actually, because how many times have you been, scrolling along and an ad pops up on Facebook or someplace and the audio is on and you don't realize your speaker is up? So you have to push the button and wait for the volume to go down. It is faster now than it used to be, but if you had something where you could just go like that, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm finding that different types of swipes on the things now are so many and varied that I tend to forget why you pull down from here to get that, and you swipe up from there, and then you
imagine how bad that's going to be when you have a Mac with a touchscreen.
Yeah. At least I'll still have a trackpad and a keyboard. But I while I sort of feel like the volume buttons are probably, not as important anymore, I do get frustrated by all the different actions that you now need to know to get different things to happen. Whereas a couple of buttons here and there can help. What do you think about that one, Jay?
Well, the way I read it, the buttons are still going to be there. It's just going to be touch sensitive, right? Solid state buttons. I don't know what the hell a solid state button is, but the thing is, and it doesn't happen as often as it used to. When your phone locks up, you need the mechanical buttons to reset it. If your phone freezes up and it doesn't recognize the touch input here, you got to wait for your battery to die.
I was gonna say that, Jay, that the only way you can power it off right now is you have to push it up, down, and then the power button, and then it'll power off.
Yeah.
Because remember, it used to be the power button and home button, but since they got rid of the home button, they had to change it to the volume buttons.
Yeah.
I mean, it would probably significantly up the waterproof rating level to not have physical buttons there anymore, I imagine.
Buy a new phone when it locks up.
Buy a new phone,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I guess so. I mean, if they're actually going to keep them there as just like capacitive touch buttons or something like that, then it resolves this stuff with combinations of buttons for screen snaps and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean. So what do you think? Do you think the push button? What do we think about this in terms of whether it's going to happen or not? We think the push buttons are going to get replaced with capacitive touch. I am also thinking that this is a fairly likely occurrence.
No,
I think it will, but I don't know that I like it.
Well, here's the thing. Well, here's one little thing too. Is remember, Apple came out with one thing that everybody's tempted to do is the little slider button for your mute. Now that's still a actual physical slider switch.
Yeah.
Are they ever going to get rid of that? If they get rid of that, I'm going to be mad because I use that little switch all the time.
Well,
I only use it once. Right after I buy the phone, I turn off the ringer. Never touch it again.
Well, you see, the thing is that once you've got an Apple Watch, all the notifications just come out on your watch rather than on your phone. So that it's always on silent, really, unless I switch my watch off. So.
Wouldn't be an Apple without a paperclip to reset something.
Yes. All right. So, and this is our last rumor for the day, and this is that Apple might be removing its reliance on Samsung and LG by making its own screens in the future. And this is something that I think is fairly likely. I think because. Let's face it, to be buying, you have a company like Samsung or something like that. They're investing research and development into screens, making screens better. When they come across some sort of great new innovation, they're not going to be giving it to Apple first. They're going to be putting it in their own freaking phones first. Yeah. And when you have one of your main direct competitors supplying you components, that just seems like a position that Apple would not want to be in if they can possibly get out of it. So,
well, and they've got this trend so far of moving things, more and more things in house, so to speak. They've got their own chipset now. They've got all of their hardware and everything is built, by them, except for the screens and maybe some other components. But I think ultimately, especially for such a major component. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the profit is going to go up by doing it in house, and they keep charging the same for the damn phone.
Yes, that's right. And this is the other thing. They can always sink money into research and development. And they can potentially come up with the next big thing and have something on a future phone that no one else has. So
Yeah.
well, they can't do that at the moment with using Samsung or LG for their screens.
And they have tons of money for R&D. You know, if they want to do the next evolution of OLED, they can do it in-house. They might be doing it already. Who knows? And, you know, you don't have to outsource it to another company that can then, I mean, they're on the contract, of course. They can't just sell it to anyone. But once another company then decides, oh, we want OLED too, then, okay, yeah, technology is here. We can manufacture it for you. Here you go. So I think it makes more than sense for them to do this in-house.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, I think this is probably the most plausible rumor on here besides the Mac Pro thing. I mean, Apple's been going that way already. Like Jay just said, you know, they've already changed their processors over to their own stuff. This is just the next evolution.
I think Dana said that, but I'll take credit because it sounds smart.
But,
okay,
I mean,
so in terms of the plausibility of this rumor, we're all we're all giving a thumbs up. Yeah, thank you, Dana. All right,
they do, as long as they finally get rid of the notch, which they have, and
it's not a notch anymore; it's an island.
It's an island.
It's an island.
Like make the back of my phone flat again.
It's an island. See, and my little.
Oh, look at the. You can see the infrared.
Yeah.
It's doing it's doing the face scan.
I'm scanning your
so,
face.
Oh, look at that.
So
mine's having a fit. Okay, there we go.
Yep, there it is. It's basically trying to scan a face. That's what it's doing there. So what do they call that thing? I can't remember. There's a name.
It's the Face
ID.
No. There's the technology that has a name.
It's like a infrared scanning. It
does like
LiDAR.
LiDAR.
That's it.
LiDAR,
That's it. Well done.
What's funny is actually on the 14 Pros, they actually have LiDAR on the back too. Whenever you take a picture.
Yep.
So
no, that's cool. That's excellent. Alrighty. Well, I think we're getting to the end of the show here. We're going a little bit over time, so we'll just very quickly do. Dave was here early. I think.
Yeah, it was early. That doesn't count.
Yeah. So, shameless self-promotion. GT, start with you. What's happening?
Not a whole lot. I've actually been doing a lot more videos on a channel that not Mac related. But I've actually been doing, and I showed Jay the trailer or the intro video to it. I'll have to send one to you guys too, so you guys can see it. But it's for my iRacing stuff. I have a racing channel on YouTube that I'm trying to grow over there. So I've been doing a lot of stuff on that. But we'll have to see how it goes though. But it's getting me more into Final Cut Pro again. So I'm actually doing that. What?
We have a dead power supply in the chat. We had to pay our respects.
So I want to just mention something here very quickly. I apologize if GT is in the middle of talking, but
no.
I can't see GT on StreamYard anymore. He's just disappeared.
I see him.
Okay.
We are not as lucky as you, sir.
He's back. It's all right. Okay. Sorry. So, I missed everything you said there, GT. I do apologize.
Oh, no, I was saying I got a new channel that I've had for a while. I just started putting more videos on it. It's for my sim racing stuff that I do. And if you check me out on Discord, you'll see me go live every so often on Twitch there. But I've been making some professional video stuff, and I made a new intro video. I sent it to Jay to get his input on it, and he actually gave me some
shot it down hard.
Yeah. No, but it's a new intro with some new music and stuff. So I wanted to get his opinion on it, and he actually said it looked pretty good. So I was pretty pleased with it. So
I love
it. So racing videos. All right, so people check that out. Jay,
yeah,
how about you?
What?
Anything interesting coming up? Self-promotion. How do people find you? Do they want to find you?
No. No, I got nothing planned except for enjoying my PowerPC challenge in the time frame of the challenge.
I thought you had a live stream coming up with Justin's 2CX.
I do. No date or time has been set, or a year for that matter.
We do.
Every time we ask him, he says, "I'm going to do that in 2023."
I think Jay's going to do it as soon as Dana posts something on his channel.
Well, then Justin, say goodbye to your computer.
Yes,
No,
I mean,
it will happen. I just need to make the time for it.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Good to hear. What about you, Dana? Any stuff coming up?
No. I mean, I'm going to be sharing PowerPC challenge stuff.
Yep.
Because
Where are you going to share it?
I have now made a note for myself to go to Tinker Different because apparently I keep forgetting that it exists.
Yes, it's not only exists, it now has over 1,000 members, so well worth checking out. What am I going to do? I've got to just grab something here very quickly. My apologies for that. I just realized that I need to get a link here like this. And I need to do a little bit of self-promotion here and just let everyone know that on Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, which is in Australian time here.
Oh, that. Yeah.
Monday. On Monday, my time, Monday lunchtime, I think, we are doing our very first live stream of our new channel, Startup Disc is Full. So we would invite everyone to come and be a part of that. We are doing our episode on vintage tech collecting, not just Macs, not just computers, but vintage tech collecting. We're going to be talking about all the different things that you can collect and all the, sort of pitfalls, things to look out for, sort of what's collectible, what's not, that sort of stuff. So anyone who likes collecting a bit of vintage tech, we would invite you to come and join us. As I say, that is on Sunday, 8 p.m. We'll be there.
You going to be there?
We'll see if we can get a camera set up here by then.
He's not going to.
I love the way that cat disses you. Every time you think he'll talk, he does it.
He can sense cameras. It's like there's a camera looking at me. I'm going to hold very still and become invisible like Drax.
Yeah, Sunday. And think back to when Macyak first went live. Everybody that was there is now either very rich, very famous, or both. And the same goes for Startup Disc is Full. You want to be there for the first live stream because it's good luck in life.
Absolutely. And I've put the link in there. You can click on that. Please click on it and click the notify me. If you haven't subscribed already, please do click the notify me so that you get reminded. You don't want to miss that one because, as I say, it's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, let's talk about vintage tech collecting, which a lot of the people who watch this show like doing anyway. So
if you don't show up, Sean will be very grumpy.
Absolutely, yes, and you don't want a grumpy Sean. Absolutely,
he will come over while you sleep and install Linux on your remote control for your TV.
And apart from that, I got a whole bunch of stuff coming. I've got product reviews and videos galore coming. So look out for that. All right, well that's it. I think pretty much we have a Discord. There's the link. Yeah. And we have
no
a
longer
website.
have a website. Nah, not really.
Yeah.
It's
there,
it's there, but
and of course, a big reminder about Tinker Different. Jump on there, in particular with the 2023 PowerPC Challenge. You'll find information in the, I think it's events and announcements or something like that. And then you'll find it up the top there. So check that out, in particular if you are participating in the PowerPC Challenge. So that's it for the show. I want to say thank you to you guys. Thank you to everyone who is watching and has been contributing in the chat. We really appreciate it, and hope to see you at the next one. So from us, it is bye-bye.
Bye.
bye.